The boardroom falls silent as Edward slams the table. Olivia, you're fired. You couldn't even show up for my birthday. Faces turn toward me. Shock, pity, discomfort. I feel heat rise in my cheeks, but keep my voice steady. Understood. Security appears within minutes. My badge dies mid-swipe. As I march past whispering colleagues, one old email flashes in my memory. An unusual vendor payment Edward personally approved. I don't react. I walk out with my head high. The elevator doors close. That single memory is the first thread I begin to pull. My first day at Apex Logistics. I introduce myself in the orientation circle, Olivia, supply chain specialist, eager to optimize routes and cut costs. Edward shakes my hand, all charm and promises of rapid growth. Within 6 months, I redesigned the entire Midwest distribution network, saving the company $42 million annually. Promotions follow quickly. Colleagues toast me at happy hours. Edward calls me his secret weapon. I believe it. The pride feels real, until the memory cuts back to today, standing on the sidewalk outside headquarters, suddenly a ghost in my own career. Back in my apartment, blinds drawn, I sit at the kitchen table staring at my laptop. Access revoked, but I still have personal backups of every report I ever authored. I open one folder labeled Vendor Audits 2023. A line item jumps out, $1.8 million to a shell company in Delaware for consulting. Edward signed off personally. My pulse quickens. I don't celebrate. I simply create a new encrypted drive and label it Evidence Day 1. Then I close the laptop, pour a glass of water, and go to bed. Revenge doesn't start with anger. It starts with sleep. Next morning I wake early, make coffee, and begin cross-referencing vendor names against public business registries. The Delaware shell links to 3 others in Wyoming and Nevada, all registered within weeks of each major contract award. I photograph every screen. No notes yet, just screenshots time-stamped. I realize I'm being methodical in a way I never was at work. The silence feels powerful. Mid-afternoon, my phone buzzes. A former colleague texts, heard what happened. You okay? I reply, fine. Taking some time. I don't elaborate. Trust is now a luxury I can't afford. I drive to a public library across town, no home Wi-Fi trail. Using a guest computer, I search federal contracting databases. Apex has won several government logistics bids. I pull the awarded contracts and match line items to internal budgets I still have saved. Discrepancies appear immediately. Inflated fuel surcharges duplicate billing. I download everything to a USB, then wipe the browser history. On the drive home, I feel the first real shift, shock replaced by calculation. Edward didn't just fire me. He handed me the keys to his own downfall. I contact an old college friend who became a forensic accountant. We meet at a crowded coffee shop, no names mentioned aloud. I hand her a redacted USB and explain only the surface irregularities. I need to know how deep. She agrees to look quietly. 2 days later, she texts one word, deep. We arrange a second meet. She confirms multiple layers of fraud, kickbacks, ghost employees, tax evasion. She warns me, this is felony territory. Be careful. I nod. I already know. I'm not going to scream. I'm going to wait. I create a timeline. Every suspicious transaction, every approving signature, every bonus tied to cost savings that never materialized. The pattern is clear. Edward and 2 VPs siphon funds through layered vendors. I estimate the total at over $120 million over 5 years. My old projects were used to mask the theft. My efficiency gains made the books look cleaner. Irony stings, but I use it as fuel. I keep working alone, late into the night, building the dossier. Each new connection feels like another brick in a wall that will eventually crush them. A former intern messages me privately. Edward's telling everyone you were let go for performance issues. Rage flickers, then dies. I reply, let him. I realize reputation is the first battlefield. I stay invisible. No LinkedIn rants, no bar complaints. Instead, I quietly reach out to 3 people I trust who left Apex under similar circumstances. One agrees to talk. Over encrypted video, she describes being pushed out after questioning a vendor invoice. She still has emails. I ask her to save everything. Another piece falls into place. I hire a lawyer specializing in whistleblower cases, someone outside Edward's network. We meet in her office. I present the timeline and initial evidence. She listens without interrupting, then says, "This is winnable, but dangerous. They'll come after you legally and personally." I sign the retainer. She explains the False Claims Act and potential rewards. I don't care about money yet. I care about exposure. We filed the first sealed disclosure with the DOJ. The complaint is anonymous. Edward has no idea the clock has started ticking. 3 weeks pass. I take a short-term consulting gig under a different name to cover bills. Meanwhile, internal rumors reach me through back channels. Edward is paranoid, auditing departments, firing anyone who looks sideways. He's tightening the noose on himself. I smile for the first time in weeks. My lawyer calls. DOJ has opened a preliminary inquiry. They want more. I spend the next 7 days compiling bank records, wire transfers, and witness statements. Every document is triple-checked. When I send the package, I feel something close to peace. Edward throws a lavish company retreat to boost morale. Social media floods with photos, him grinning on a yacht, employees forced to smile. I watch from my couch, noting who's missing. The 2 VPs most tied to the fraud. They're suddenly on extended leave. Cracks are showing. I receive an anonymous email from inside Apex. They're shredding files. My heart races. I forward it to my lawyer immediately. She replies, "They're scared. Stay dark." I do. The longer I stay silent, the louder their panic becomes. Federal agents show up unannounced at headquarters. Not a raid, yet just interviews. Edward is seen leaving in a black SUV, face pale. LinkedIn lights up with speculation. I keep working my cover job, answering questions about supply chain software like nothing's happening. Inside, I'm tracking every public filing, every news mention. The company stock dips 7%. Shareholders start asking questions. Edward issues a memo blaming market conditions. I save it. Another lie to add to the pile. My lawyer calls with news. DOJ has subpoenaed bank records. Edward's personal accounts are now under scrutiny. One of the VPs flips, quietly, becoming a cooperating witness. Details pour in, exact percentages of kickbacks, meeting locations, burner phones. I feel the momentum shift. I'm no longer chasing shadows. The shadows are running toward the light. I allow myself one small celebration, a long walk in the park at sunrise. For the first time since the firing, I breathe without tightness in my chest. Edward tries damage control. He schedules an all-hands Zoom, claims the investigation is a routine compliance review. His voice cracks twice. Employees aren't buying it. Resignations spike. I receive screenshots from former colleagues showing the growing chaos. One message reads, "He's screaming in his office. Never seen him like this." I don't reply. I don't need to. Every outburst is another nail. My role now is patience. The machine I helped build is dismantling itself from the inside. Edward discovers my name is tied to the whistleblower complaint. How? A leaked internal memo. He files a defamation lawsuit against me, claiming I fabricated evidence out of spite. Process servers show up at my door. My lawyer anticipated this. We countersue for wrongful termination, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The discovery phase begins. Edward's legal team demands my hard drives. We produce only redacted, court-approved versions. His arrogance blinds him. He thinks he can bury me in legal fees. He has no idea what's still hidden. During deposition, Edward smirks across the table, confident his lawyers will shred my credibility. I answer every question calmly, factually. When asked why I missed his birthday, I reply, I was finalizing the Q3 savings report that saved the company $38 million. His face changes. The room goes quiet. My lawyer introduces emails proving I worked 14-hour days that weekend. Edward's smirk vanishes. For the first time, he looks small. The deposition ends early. Outside, I see him yelling at his attorneys in the hallway. The tide has turned. Another cooperating witness surfaces, an IT administrator who preserves server logs Edward ordered deleted. The logs show him accessing and altering financial records after my firing. Timestamped. Irrefutable. DOJ adds obstruction of justice to the charges. Edward's bail is revoked. He's placed under house arrest with an ankle monitor. Photos leaked to business news sites. The $978 million empire is now headline news for all the wrong reasons. I read the articles in silence, coffee in hand. No gloating, just confirmation. The board forces Edward to step down as CEO. An interim replacement is named. Stock plummets 41%. Shareholders file class action suits. My lawyer tells me the False Claims Act case is progressing. Potential recovery in the hundreds of millions. I'm eligible for a percentage. I tell her I'll donate most of it to fraud prevention charities. She smiles. You're unusual. I shrug. Money was never the point. Control was, and now I have it. Edward's criminal trial begins. I'm not called to testify. My evidence is presented through documents and other witnesses. I watch the live stream from home. He takes the stand, blames subordinates, claims he was unaware. The prosecutor dismantles him with my compiled timeline. Jurors watch stone-faced. On cross-examination, he snaps. She was just a bitter employee. The prosecutor smiles. Then why did she save the company $200 million in 5 years? Edward has no answer. The camera catches sweat on his upper lip. Guilty verdicts roll in. Wire fraud, tax evasion, conspiracy, obstruction. Edward is sentenced to 14 years. The two VPs take plea deals and receive lighter terms for cooperation. Apex Logistics files for Chapter 11 restructuring. The brand survives, barely, under new ownership. I receive the first whistleblower award check. I frame the letter, not the money. Former colleagues message me. We always knew it was him. I reply to one I know. Then I log off for good. Edward tries one last move from prison. Threatening letters sent through intermediaries, implying he has dirt on me. My lawyer traces them back to his brother. We file additional charges. The brother pleads guilty to witness tampering. Edward's parole eligibility is pushed back another 5 years. I never respond to the threats. Silence remains my strongest weapon. Each unanswered letter weakens him further. I sleep better knowing the cage is locked tighter every day. I start a small logistics consulting firm. Remote. No employees. No office politics. Clients come through referrals from people who heard my story through industry whispers. I charge premium rates and deliver premium results. No drama. No birthdays. Just work. One day a potential client asks if I'm the Olivia from Apex. I say yes. He nods. Thought so. Heard you took down a crooked empire. I smile slightly. I just told the truth. He signs the contract on the spot. The final DOJ report is released publicly. My name is redacted, but insiders know. Business journals run features. The silent whistleblower who dismantled a logistics giant. I decline every interview request. Instead, I write one anonymous LinkedIn post. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. It goes viral inside corporate circles. Thousands of likes, shares, private messages from people who survived similar betrayals. I don't reply to most. Some I do with one sentence, you're not alone. Edward appeals. It fails. He's transferred to a higher security facility after attempting to bribe a guard. News barely registers with me. I'm too busy, new clients, new projects, new routines. I hike on weekends, read novels, cook elaborate dinners for one. The anger is gone. What remains is clarity. I rebuilt my identity outside the shadow of a man who thought he could erase me. He didn't. He sharpened me. I am better for it. 2 years after the firing, I stand on a quiet beach at sunrise. No cameras, no witnesses. Just waves and sky. I think about the boardroom, the birthday, the frozen empire. I feel no need for closure speeches or final words. The truth did its work. I take a deep breath, turn, and walk back to my car. A new contract waits in my inbox, another company needing efficiency, honesty, results. I smile. My name is Olivia, and I'm just getting started.